Hello, everybody, and welcome to MS Live. I am Myles Sergé. I'm here with
D-KNOX, aka Donnell Knox, the co-host, and we are.
chilling on a Saturday. Not the usual day time,
Right.
but yeah, we're doing something a little different today. But thank you guys for tuning in.
Heck
Um,
yeah. We
yeah, for
appreciate
sure.
the love.
Exactly. And since Donnell is on that note, like, share,
Hmm.
and subscribe to the channel. So we're close to 500 subscribers, and that's the goal that we're trying to get within the next, hopefully next week or so. Um, but yeah, so if you guys like us, you like to support us, you like the channel, you like what you see, you like the guests, it's that easy. Like, share, and subscribe. Hit the button.
Only you guys can make that happen. So
That is
please.
very true. That is very true. And also, we are also available on Apple Podcast, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and Amazon Music. If you don't, care to watch or you can't watch, you rather listen, you can hit us there too. And
Exactly.
boom, you can also find us on Instagram, MS Live with D-KNOX. That's us. Like the page, check us out, add us, whatever you need to do. We're gonna be doing a lot of stuff there in the future. But yeah. So what's up, man? How you doing?
I'm good, man. It's nice weather over here in Warsaw. It's one of them days where it's in the 70s, but it's still not hot because it's got the little wind chill. So, you can wear your little t-shirt, go around, be in the sun, and it still don't feel too hot.
Okay.
People out chilling. It's a nice day. How
Yeah.
you doing over there in Flint?
Man, it's been crazy hot. Today is it's muggy. Um, it looks
Oh,
like it's about to rain, but yeah, man, it's been
okay.
like this whole week, man, it's been like hell, like 90
I know that
plus,
mugginess.
and
I
it's
know that
nasty.
muggy. It's not Florida mugginess, but
No,
it's that
no.
Michigan
If I
mugginess.
lived in
Come out
Florida,
and you're like,
I don't think I could do it. But this is the taste of how Florida it is. I don't want to be in Florida at all.
you're sitting up in the air all day.
Well, now I am at work tonight.
Yeah. Yeah, work. I wonder how it is down there. They gotta have air conditioning in them buildings, like in them factories where they work and stuff, or because man, I'd probably just be sitting around eating popsicles all day, man.
Yeah.
That's probably
Now,
most of my money be spent.
this air conditioning, like for the supervisors, not on the floor, man. Um,
Dang.
yeah, it's been crazy. And then they got fans and stuff, but when the fans blowing hot air, it's not helping. It's
Right.
just
It's
making
like
me
I like the oven door open, yeah.
exactly, exactly. But
Just
yeah, man. So 4th of July is coming up. Are you like celebrating? I mean, since you're technically not here, did you celebrate?
like no, there was some cats over here, man. They was putting some things together, few events, and normally I just don't go. Um, don't get me wrong. I just don't celebrate really this American holidays over here.
Mm,
I guess I'm, an anti-patriot in a way, but I know they're there. I get invited. I just don't go, and sometimes I don't want to be unless I'm playing at the party. I don't want to be where there's a large group of Americans
okay,
somewhere sometimes, just in
gotcha.
case somebody that happens to be the enemy of America is privy to those get-togethers.
Right,
If you know what I mean. I'm
I
just
got you.
trying to blend in.
Got
You
you.
don't know where I'm from. Maybe I could be from America, Europe, Germany. I could be half Polish, half black. Like just blend it in.
Right, I get it. I get it. Nothing wrong
Yeah,
with that,
yeah.
man. Nothing wrong with that.
Yep. I mean, plus, I mean, most of my friends, my friends from I grew up with are back home, and others are spread out. You know, so over here, I got different friends that I met over here, but a lot of them dudes that's from back home that put those kind of events together. It's kind of still like trying to get to know. You go in there. Oh, where are you from? Kalamazoo. Oh, where are you from? Montana. I feel like it's a date or something, trying to get to know somebody. I like
Right.
baseball. Oh, I like football. I like football too. You know, that kind of stuff. So I just like, okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
I get it.
I'm not going to get the sparklers or the firecrackers and celebrate none of that, or the whippersnappers, none of that stuff.
Yeah, yeah, I get it. Well, speaking of friends, today we have our guest is like a mutual friend of both of us. This is probably I always say this, but it's the truth. This is like one of my favorite people in this industry on both that level, but also as a friend. We've been pretty cool for a while now, but this is the guy though. This is the guy. I think, in my opinion, he is. So, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome to the stage. Not that we have a stage, but the platform or whatever. We'll say a stage. Welcome to the
Virtual
stage.
stage.
Yeah, virtual stage. We'll do that. Let's bring in our guest today, Mr. Alan Oldham.
Hey. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you. Glad to be here.
Yeah,
Glad to be
we're
here.
so happy to have you here.
Appreciate
Man.
you, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how's it going?
Man, busy. Finally back in Berlin for a while. I was on tour back in the States for all of May. And then I had a couple of shows when I got back to Europe. And now I'm kind of chilling for a couple weeks and catching up on projects. It's a lot of stuff I neglected when I was on the road. So, you know, it won't be much of a summer vacation for me. I'm going to be working all the way through, man. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I got people waiting for music. I got people waiting for art. And it's like for the first time, I'm considering an assistant in some kind of way. Yeah, because I can't do all this.
Yeah, I hear that, man.
Yeah, but everything's good, man. Health is good. You know, Berlin is Berlin, you know, so yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, we're happy to have you here, and I have a lot of things I want to ask you today.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, everybody, welcome to MS Live. Today's episode is episode number 12, entitled Johnny Warhol. So, with that being said, can you tell me about this project you got that's going on, the Black Warhol? Excuse me.
Yeah, the Black Warhols. It's basically a alter ego project that is kind of experimental, dub, industrial shoegaze, like electronic shoegaze. You know, just everything kind of in one package. We just released the single, Pitch Bender, and that's out now, and that's on Aufnahme und Wiedergabe. That's the label, and it's on their Bandcamp page, and it's everywhere now. And then we have the album coming out in the fall. I understand it will be on vinyl. The album is called "Famous for 15 Minutes" by the Black Warhols. Shot a video for it. We shot this video like a year and a half ago.
Okay.
It's just been in the chamber until the album comes out. But yeah, it's kind of my, you know, alternative shoegaze, electronic new wave, industrial. You know, we have a lot of heavy dub influence, and yeah, I can't wait for the full album to come out because I think it's going to blow some minds. There's no techno in it at all.
Okay.
I don't do anything 4/4. The rules for my personal rules for the album was nothing 4/4 and no hi-hats. So there will be no hi-hats in the making of this record. So yeah, this is October. Famous for 15 Minutes, the Black Warhols, and the philosophy of the Black Warhols is the first kind of EP, and that's out now also.
Okay. So you mentioned we. So can you tell me about your the other people in the band?
Oh, was it's not a band.
Oh,
I
it's not
kind
a
of
band. Oh, okay.
no,
Okay.
it's basically me and but for the video, I recruited a couple of friends of mine so we portray a fake band in the video.
Okay.
But it's all me.
Okay. So this is kind of like a Alan Oldham, like 9 Inch Nails type thing, like with Trent Reznor type thing.
Yeah, you can kind of say that.
Okay.
Or like when Prince, Prince did everything on his albums, but then when he was live, he was the revolution.
Right. Right.
Something like that.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
But I mean, not to compare myself with Prince,
You
but
could be. I think you go on that level. For
I don't
sure,
think
man.
I don't think so. So but yeah. So it's basically all me. But then for video, I got a couple of friends to kind of portray a band situation, just so it wouldn't be boring.
Right.
Mhm.
So yeah, but that's the Black Warhols. So that's kind of my experimental tip.
So should we be expecting like a tour?
For this,
That would be dope.
it would be dope, but it's like it's a studio project, man.
Okay.
People be getting all happy. It's like, hey man, are you gonna play live? It's like, oh, I don't
you
know.
should. I think you should play live.
Maybe.
That'd be nice. That'd be nice.
Maybe. Because I mean, with this kind of music, you could just go out with Machina and play live.
Okay.
Off of, it's because the tracks are not mixed together. So so you could just go out with the laptop and play. I don't know.
Yeah,
we'll see.
I think we should do it. What y'all think, people? I think we should push for this.
Oh boy,
we want this live. You heard it.
Let us know in the comments.
Hit us up in the comments. We're gonna make this happen, yo.
Oh man, I'm being recruited.
Damn right.
Yeah,
so,
man.
But you did speak on something, and I want to come back to this. You spoke of shoegaze. Now, mid last year, I had a gig out in Minneapolis, and this girl came up to me after. I guess I played some track, and she was like, "Yo, was that like some type of shoegaze track?" I'm looking at her like, "What the hell are you talking about? What is shoegaze?" She was like, "No. You sound like this track. You sound like it's a shoegaze thing." And she's like, "You know Alan Oldham?" I'm like, "Yeah."
Wow.
And he plays shoegaze, and the track you played sounds like something he would play, but he did a shoegaze mix, and I thought she said it was on Resident Advisor or something. She was like, No, for real. It's like really dope. So I'm at this place, and I tried to call you right then and there. I think I either called you. I know I messaged you right there. I was like, yo,
Yeah.
I'm with some girl, and she's asking me about you and shoegaze. I'm like, what the hell is shoegaze? I've never heard of that ever. So can you please explain to us, at least to me again, because her kind of description might have been a little bit off because of certain circumstances, but can you please explain to us in the audience what shoegaze is and how did you get involved with it?
Okay. I know the girl that you're talking about in Minneapolis.
Okay.
Hey, I saw she came when I played there also. Okay, so shoegaze music is a form of indie rock, and it's characterized by like phased and tone bent guitars, like a lot of effects, a lot of reverb, a lot of echo, a lot of bending tones in the tracks, buried vocals, like the vocals are way buried. Here's the rhythm section in the band part is here, and then the vocals would be like here somewhere. There are certain bands that are known for this sound, like My Bloody Valentine. My Bloody Valentine to me is the first ever shoegaze band, and everybody else is kind of ripping them off.
Okay.
They were the very first, in my opinion. You have My Bloody Valentine, you have Curve, which was shoegaze but with dance beats underneath. You have Lilies, which was, in my opinion, Lilies is the American My Bloody Valentine. They came out in 1992, or no, 93, right after My Bloody Valentine. They are the American version, Lilies. It's a lot of bands right now that are doing it. Glixen is one of the later new bands that have that sound.
Okay.
Glixen is really good. I would encourage everyone to check those guys out.
Glixen. Okay.
Glixen, They got this beast of a drummer back there, man, killing it. Yeah, that's the band of the moment for shoegaze. Ringo Death Star. Ringo Death Star is like the Rolling Stones of shoegaze. They've been around for like ever and ever, like 20 years almost.
Okay, now I have heard of that band, at least the
yeah,
name, so.
yeah. Ringo Death Star. I saw. What was funny about Ringo is that I saw them not this year, but the year before when I was back in Detroit, and it turned out they were playing when I was home. So me and a friend went and saw them, and it was just a really nice, things came together. It was really nice. So that's what shoegaze is in my estimation. It is indie rock, but the guitar sound is taken to an extreme in terms of atmosphere. It's not like, as opposed to like metal or hard rock where they're doing like solos and it's really kind of macho. Shoegaze is more atmospheric. It's almost like ambient in a way.
Okay.
That's kind of how I got into it, because it was like ambient music but with guitars. Okay. So I got, to answer your question in a long-winded way, I was working at WDET, and this was my last days working at the radio station, and the station would get these promos, and after my show was over, I'd go back into the library and I'd be putting my records back, and then I would pick out CDs to listen to while I was putting my records back away, alphabetically. And we got in Loveless by My Bloody Valentine, and I put that in, and I was just blown away, like right away. And then we ended up getting in I forget the name of the album, but the band is called Medicine, and they are from LA. And they had some shoegaze albums in the early 90s. And we were getting all this stuff in, and I was listening to it at the station. And then I started getting into it as a listener, and it just kind of went from there. And then like maybe 2011, like 2010, 2011, this is when you started seeing the second wave, because the whole thing had died for a while, and then you started seeing the second wave of bands sounding like this. And I kind of jumped in this new generation, and I've just been listening ever since.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what's up, man. I'm gonna definitely check out some of this, because like I said, with my conversation with her, I was like, it just opened me up to something new. I've never heard of that, you know what I mean? Yeah. So, and just the fact that when I asked you about it, like, I had no idea, you know what I mean? Yeah. So I'm glad you explained to me. At least I know, and I got some references I can go check back.
Yeah.
Yeah. We had a comment for you, Miss Julia Page. Says she's checking them out now. Can't wait. Love electronic music, but I'm a psychedelic / blues rock first.
Yeah, Julia's got good taste.
Yeah.
Yeah,
she's cool. I know her personally, but
yeah, she's got good taste.
Yeah. Mr. Fitzpatrick.
Lester Fitzpatrick.
Yeah, man. Lester's gonna
King
be a regular right now.
King Les. Lester, like, what up, bros? He's like, what up, bros?
Yes, man. Yes.
Yeah.
The legend.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
I think he's very underrated. A lot of people, don't know about him, but we're gonna hopefully change that and get him on the show soon.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what's up, man. I like that. Definitely the shoegaze. All right. Is it safe to assume that I hear a lot of you guys' stories, like people who from Detroit, and they go back and they listen to like early radio, especially from like Mojo. So is it safe to assume that most of you guys coming up, they was like a huge influence, like on the sound and just how things happen, like from people from Detroit? I think I heard tapes of shows, and it was kind of all over the place. So,
I liked Mojo, and he set the tone for what happened later in radio. I personally feel like that Detroit radio at the time was broad. I mean, not to backpedal Mojo, but he was not the only one.
Right.
that was playing like adventurous music on the air during that time. You know what I mean? He gets the hype because the techno guys kind of hype him up, and he did a lot to break down barriers in terms of kind of like race barriers in music. They let him do what he wanted, and he played a lot of white rock music, on a black station, and he exposed a lot of different types. Like this cat would play like Alice Cooper and Peter Frampton, and what else did he play? Rolling Stones, Miss You. Yeah, that was one of his tracks. So he opened this up it was a segregated time in music, and he opened that up like late 70s, early 80s. But there were a lot of people. Like for me, there used to be a show called Radios in Motion on WDET. This is before I even started working there. It was this guy Mike Halloran, and he did a show called Radios in Motion, and they played like the early new wave stuff. There was Greg St. James, and he had a show called Dangerous Exposure. He was playing a lot of new wave. He was playing new wave on a rock station, and at that time it was like the real blue collar rock, Van Halen, shit like that. And then he would come in. He had a show where he played new wave. So it was a lot of people that were kind of like pushing against the barriers in those days, just trying to get new sounds and then it helped for me that it was so much new music coming from the UK at that time. It was like all this, like Japan and a lot of stuff I can't even think. Flock of Seagulls was big back in those days. It was so much of that, kind of new wave. And then we had MV3 on television, which was a music video show that emphasized on new wave music, and it was before Detroit got cable. So this was like the exposure to a lot of kind of new wave stuff, and a lot of brothers and sisters were into that kind of music back in the day, and then you had Prince back then, and people were walking around. People, when I was young, they were walking around, dressed like Prince with the purple overcoat, and you go to the mall and the girls are wearing camisoles and lingerie like Vanity 6. So it was a confluence of all that stuff back then, man. Yeah.
There you go.
My brother. My brother Delano.
Yes.
What's up? Delano, yeah.
I have known that cat maybe 5th grade, 4th.
Dang.
Wow.
Yeah, maybe 4th grade. Yeah, man. Delano was one of the first DJ inspirations in Detroit. Even before Mills, Derek. He was playing high school parties. And for a lot of people, he was the first person they ever saw mix tracks. So it was Delano and his brother Desi. This is
7th grade.
Back in the 7th. Really, 7th? I thought I knew him longer than that.
Yeah.
No, man, it had to be like 6th grade. Get out of here. Delano getting senile. I've been knowing you way before that, man. Get out of here, 7th grade.
He said 7th grade, man. He also said,
yeah. Ken Collier introduced new wave. There you go. On the dance floor, on the club scene. Yeah, he would know.
Yeah.
So yeah. And circling back to Mojo, he introduced B-52s and Prince to the Detroit market. He was the one that broke them in Detroit.
Okay.
Yeah. To my knowledge.
Okay.
Yeah. So
what did he say? He said another message for you.
What's that?
Delano.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, of course it was Saint Cecilia and Sister Mary, but I thought we knew each other way before that. Because I got to Saint Cecilia in 3rd grade, and then I left for 8th grade. So I just, I don't know.
Yeah. Hey,
Wow.
Dave, you want to join the conversation, man? Let us know. We can plug you in. Send you the
Plug
link.
you right in.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure, man.
Plug 1, plug 2.
Plug 2, plug 3.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, Dell is the man.
He said,
I do have
probably
I do have a question for you, but it's like 2 questions.
Okay.
Because one is I wanted to ask you what was daily life back in the day in Detroit for you, and also what was it like back in the day in Chicago for you, and then at what point, what city did you kind of develop more musically? In the sense
Okay.
Detroit versus Chicago, but no, like the day to day, what you were doing, not just musically, but your interactions with people, family, just the basic normal stuff.
Yeah. Detroit, my daily life in Detroit, I mean, obviously I was, going to school and going to work. I had a series of kind of part-time jobs that got me through college and then early post-graduation. I used to work at a place called Sam's Jams. It was a record shop. It used to be on 9 Mile in Ferndale, and that was kind of the focal point for that part of the city. People would come in. They used to have live bands on Saturday night. Sometimes I'd work the Saturday nights. Um, I used to, I was drawing a lot. That was my thing in those days. Just drawing. Just I've said this in other interviews. My whole goal was to be a Marvel or DC comic artist. So I was drawing like a whole lot back then. Dating around and stuff, and getting into this music little by little by little. Like I got my radio show right before I graduated at WDET. So every Friday night I would do the show, and I used to be on. I started from 3 to 6 a.m. and then they moved me up to midnight to 3 a.m. So in the summer, I would go midnight to 3 a.m. at the station, and then at 3 a.m. I go to Music Institute and hang out and dance. And on Friday night, it was Derek May. On Saturday night, it was Shay Damier and Alton Miller. So we used to go there. I used to work at a copy shop. I worked there for like 3 or 4 years. Lopez Reproductions in the Penobscot building. And that's when I first started trying to make a record label. And my boss was really cool because this is when faxes first came out in the super early 90s.
Okay.
And he used to let me use the fax machine, the work fax, I'd be getting faxes and sending faxes out. And he used to let me use, he was super cool about it. And then when we put out our first record and started getting feedback from it and people were sending faxes, he was just very excited. It's like,
Okay, that's cool.
oh shit, like London and Belgium and oh shit, But my boss was like just super cool, man. I kind of miss the guys at that place. That the whole place is gone now. I went back to the Penobscot building last time I was back, and it's like it was never there. It's wild. But yeah. So I mean, that was what I did. I hung out a lot of Derek May's loft at that time. That was
the one on Gratiot.
on Gratiot. I used to go there after work. I used to, like I get off work at 5 and, I was downtown. So I just go right on Gratiot and just hang out. And
did he have Mau Mau then?
Yes.
Did he have, okay.
Yes. Yes.
That was a big dog, man.
Yeah. So yeah, that's where I first met like KLXC. That's where I first met Darren Muhammad from Adrenaline MOD. Yeah, it was a bunch of people. I used to just hang out there and then go on the Friday, just go to the club and do my show. And that's really what it was back in those days. Just I was starting out in the music thing and the music started taking over from the art. And I just was constantly doing things, like Derek asked me to draw some stuff for the Music Institute, which he still has framed. I did some album covers. I was doing the stuff for Derek and doing the stuff for Saskia. No, Saskia, that wasn't till later. And that was kind of my, buying comic books every weekend, new comic day at the comic shop. So either either Comics Cafe, which was Todd Johnson comic shop, or Dave's Comics in Royal Oak. And that was just basically my whole life, until I left Detroit. It got to the point where I felt that I had to leave Detroit. Because as I progressed more in the music business, if you're in Detroit and you're surrounded by all these legends, and you're never going to get your props, because it's dudes in front of you. It just is. So you just had to just break and just go somewhere else, which led to Chicago. So this is the Chicago part. So I left Detroit in 2004. So that means I've been gone for 21 years from Detroit. And my ex-fiance was from Chicago. So I wanted to get out of Detroit like really, really bad. And she was from Chicago. I'm like, why not? Because, I could stay at her brother's place while we look for a place. So it was kind of for convenience. It wasn't like, oh, Chicago had this great scene, I have to be part of it. It was just like, well, it's a different place, and I can kind of move there relatively easily. Yeah. But unfortunately, I in my head, I thought it would be a new start, but unfortunately, Chicago disagreed.
Right.
And
I'm sure you kind of ran into the same thing that was going on in Detroit, as far as like artist wise,
with on steroids. On steroids. Ooh. I tried to do like I did 2 events. I just tried to do some events, bro. I mean, I'm not trying to take over your scene, man. Come on. Right. And I even booked a Chicago guy, but needless to say, I'm editing a lot, but that didn't work out, and I stopped giving gigs, and it was to the point where I just says, I'm just going to focus on playing in Europe, and I just live here in Chicago. But Chi-Town just wasn't the good there was 2 things about Chicago that I liked. No, 3. Well, number 1 was the blue line, the L. You didn't need a car anymore. All right. And the L went straight to the airport.
Yep.
Right. So you no longer had to park your car in the long-term park, and you no longer had to deal with traffic. You just get on the L. Number 2, the food. Best food in the Midwest. I got really fat. There were pictures of me from back then, which I will not show. And the third thing that I liked about Chicago, well, when I was in Chicago, I was in kind of a deep nadir of my career. But Chicago at the time had a lot of really good temp jobs. A lot of good, like, just bullshit temp jobs that paid really well. You only worked for like a week, 10 days. You made a lot of money. You could pay the rent. And Chicago has a lot of jobs like that to get you through. It's a lot of kind of want to be, like artistic people, like want to be actors and people like a lot of people move to Chicago so they can study at Second City. Second City is the source place where a lot of Saturday Night Live people come from, So people come to Chicago to do their time at Second City, and so it's a lot of temp jobs, that kept me afloat at that time. But I wasn't really. But I eventually got gentrified out of my place, and Berlin was calling, and I just came here and I never left.
Right. So
that was basically how that went. And then, strangely enough, when I got to Berlin, my career started taking off. Right. So that was basically it. Chicago. Yeah. I don't want to like talk bad about it, but it wasn't for me. And if you are a freelance creative, it's not for you.
Right.
If you've got a real job lined up, corporate gig, then yeah, it's great. But I struggled a lot when I was there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and it was hard. It was hard to get anything started because, your instinct is, hey, if you're bored or if it's not really working, then your instinct is to make something happen. Right. It's like, oh, let's get a club night. Let's do something. But, you get a lot of You know, a lot of resistance
Right.
from the locals. You know.
Was Jeff already gone when you was living there?
Jeff was there.
Right?
Jeff was there when I was there.
Okay.
We used to hang out. We used to hang out a bit. He used to have a clothing store called Gamma
Yeah, I
Player.
remember that.
Yeah, and I used to hang. That was when you could catch Jeff because he'd be at the store.
Yeah,
You know,
okay.
so you know, and me and my ex-fiance at the time used to hang out with Jeff and Yoko. This is like the 2000s, still like, you know.
Was it close to gramophone? It wasn't too far from gramophones, was it?
No, two way different
Okay.
areas.
Okay, so he
yeah.
wasn't over there.
No, like not by gramophone. Gramophone, you had to take the red from where I was at. You'd have to take the red line or something down there. But
Okay.
Jeff was up on the north side. You know, I've been gone for so long I can't remember the exact area. It wasn't Wicker Park, but it was next to it, like Ukrainian Village. That's where he was.
Okay.
So, but yeah. So Jeff was there, and Tim Baker was still with us. And I used to hang. Yeah.
Good old Tim.
Yeah. I forgot he moved.
Yeah.
Moved.
Yeah, because he had that.
Yeah, he moved there after U of M. Was it U of M or MSU he went? But he moved. He was there for a while when I got there. And he was he was one of the few cool people I hung out with, like him, Jeff. And when I was living in Chicago, I kept it tight. There was this whole group of South Side guys from Bridgeport, and they were kind of the indie rock shoegaze crew, and they had like a band, and I used to go see them, and I kind of fell in with them. They were friends with my ex-fiance, and but they were way on the South Side, like total White Sox fanatics, and those were the kind of the coolest guys outside of techno DJing or whatever.
Right.
So yeah, in my Chicago experience, not to say anything really bad, but it bears mentioning that I have not played Smart Bar in like 15 years. I was living in Chicago and I could not get booked at Smart Bar, man. I literally was the red line away and I could not get booked there. I remember one time Smart Bar, they brought in Vision Quest. And this is when Seth Troxler was still with Vision Quest. So they brought in 4 whole bodies, but couldn't book me once.
Right.
So that was my Chicago experience.
I never played there either. So
you never played there?
No, I did the same thing, man. Back in the days, Davey Dave used to book me all the time for his events. But Smart Bar, I never played there. I know that Manish, this dude Manish, if you guys know him, he's Indian. He was trying to get me in there maybe like 8-9 years ago or something, and I just didn't ever think about it. I just I'll just go where I get booked.
Yeah,
and not they don't book me, whatever. That's they got their reasons.
Absolutely.
For whatever. Don't hurt my feelings if I play. I guess I just wasn't meant to play there.
Yeah,
or something. It's still open though. I mean, if I play in the future, that's cool too.
Yeah. That's a healthy attitude. Yeah. The only reason I brought it up is because we were talking about my experiences in Chicago, and that's one of them. So
I think every place I've seen, I think most cities and most scenes got their their cliques that they deal with people, and they stick with those people.
Yeah.
Just like I've never played Chicago up until last year, and it was a private party, one of the Podval parties I played, and it was in a neighborhood at a guy's house that had a dope sound system, and it was soundproof, and it was probably me and Sean, Chicago Skyway, he came out, we played together. It was probably one of the best experiences I've ever had, you know what I mean? But it was dope, but I can tell you how many times I've hit Smart Bar up or, hey, I'm here. And I mean, I was in Grand Rapids, I'm still close. It's not that far, you know what I mean? But it's to the point that some of these people they won't even like open emails, don't check messages or nothing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like, what's the point? And then I look at some of the talent. Not saying that I'm great, but I see some of the talent that these people get, and it's just like really, But it
Yeah.
is what it is.
It is what it is. It is what it is.
And I kind of like my whole career has kind of been like with you, I mean, except I wasn't in a city where a lot of things were happening. I mean, Donnell and them technically aren't in my city, but I had Kiko, and that was really it. But I found that I had to actually create my own lane, make my own wave to get exposure. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
the record label and different things to put myself out there, and then people kind of caught on, if you want to say that. But that's it. I mean, and it sucks that a lot of artists don't get love from their own city. Like I don't get booked in Grand Rapids, it's rare. You know what I mean? And I'm from there.
Mhm.
But in a lot of places, but I think it's not just me, it's everybody, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah,
So-
that's just the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah. So yeah, that's my Chicago, Detroit daily life back in the day.
Yeah. And D says
Chi-Town,
Chicago.
yeah. Chi-Town rarely books Detroit DJ. Well, you got to be huge like Jeff.
Yeah.
You got to be super big like him. They'll book him. So
I don't think
yeah,
he has a problem with any he can be booked on the sun.
Mills, man, that dude.
So we do have a question from you from Miss Stephanie Todd.
Oh, Stephanie.
Yeah.
Oh wow. How do you guys feel about the commercialization with the festivals, Ibiza carnivals? Do you miss the warehouses, mystery locations? Speaking strictly for me, the commercialization doesn't really affect my level. My level as a DJ. I still play underground events. You know what I mean? I still play warehouses, and I played several events for Myles.
Yeah.
That introduced me to the Grand Rapids scene, the modern Grand Rapids scene, because I played there before, way back.
Mhm.
But the modern Grand Rapids scene, I was able to experience because of Myles. The commercialization really only affects like the big super top DJs. I personally am not a fan because the venture capitalism is taking over festivals and that sort of thing, and this revenue is being used to, they're investing in weapon systems and just all kinds of sinister stuff. But I'm not for it. But again, on our level, I mean,
Mhm.
speaking also for Myles and D-KNOX, it doesn't really affect us on our level. That I, because I'm, it's still the warehouses, it's still the underground, it's still the true music lovers that are putting these events together, for me at least. I very rarely play like big super clubs and these places you read about, like Ibiza. I've never been to Ibiza. They've tried to do techno events on Ibiza. Ibiza is more house because anything that's summertime and hot outside is house.
Right.
Yeah.
Miami, Ibiza, LA, whatever. And they tried to do techno events, but then if they do a techno event, they book Charlotte DeWitt. She's techno. So on my level, it doesn't really affect me. I don't really think about it too much.
Yeah.
I'm sure a lot of people will be really super mad that I'm not like, super, super hateful, but it doesn't really affect me.
Yeah, it's only it's a mindset thing too. If you let it affect you,
Mm-hmm.
you think it's going to affect you, it's going to. But if you say, I don't care what's going on around the circus is going around me, it's not affecting me.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, people, when you stay in your own lane, people get mad at you for staying in your own lane.
Which is crazy.
It's like, they mad at you if you don't stay in your own lane, and then they mad at you if you stay in your own lane. I just do my own thing, and I got blinders on like a horse,
Right.
like a mule,
But it keeps you focused.
Oh yeah,
it keeps you very focused because
absolutely,
you do your thing, what you need to do, and there's no distractions are gone. You know what I
mean?
Mm-hmm. And then there's a lot of distractions that take you off.
Oh yeah, way off your game. Absolutely.
Some of that is on purpose. They try to,
Yeah.
So yeah. I do have. I wanted to ask you about generator.
Okay.
I think a lot of people, I'm assuming, I've talked to a lot of people that actually didn't know that that was your creation. So
Mm-hmm.
can you tell us about a little bit about Generator, how it came about, and what was the ideal and direction you were going when you started it?
Okay. I had just gotten back from tour with Underground Resistance, Australian tour. I think it was 92. And Mike Banks, Mad Mike, he was starting Submerge. He had the idea for Submerge, multiple labels, and they do P&D, and all you do is kind of deliver masters and artwork. So he pitched this to me on the plane back, and he said, "Hey man, I'm starting this thing. If you can do a label." Now I'd done a label before called Technica, which was a complete fiasco. That's a whole tale into itself. We had an industrial band on the label. I formed that label to put out this industrial band called Code Assault, which went on to change their name to be Code Industry.
Mm-hmm.
So we only had the one release on that label. So I still kind of had a bad taste in my mouth about running a label. But this time the P&D was set, and all you had to do was basically deliver music. So there was this one guy from Code Industry I remained friends with, and he had access to a studio. This is before I had my own gear. And I went to him. I says, "Hey man, let's get in the studio and make some music, and it'll come out this time. We can get paid this time." Because even though he was with Code Industry, he never saw a dime from Code Industry. So he was geeked to just make some money. So we got together and we started making music. And we'd get together maybe twice a week at his place because they had all the gear. It was kind of the Code Industry was 4 guys, and they collectively made a studio. Like they'd all had all the different pieces belonged to a different guy, and they would just bring the pieces and just collectivize everything. And we started making music, and that was the first 5 Generator release. No, the first 4.
Okay.
Was me and this guy Pendrell. And as my DJing career kept growing in the early 90s, I would come across guys that would give me demos and stuff. And one of such guys was Marco Passarani. When we were in Rome, I was there with Underground Resistance, and Marco gave me a whole DAT, which was wild at the time. He gave me a whole DAT. You could bootleg off it,
right?
But he gave it to me. He trusted me, and we ended up putting his music out. And then I started playing in the Midwest, and I got a call from Woody McBride, and he wanted to book me for one of his shows, the Wall of Bass. And what happened was he asked me what my fee was, and I told him, I says, "Yo, I don't want money. I want you to do an EP for me for my label. So straight trade. I come play, you give me a record."
Mm-hmm.
So this dude, he's a maniac. He gives me an album.
Oh wow!
He gave me like a double pack, like 7. I think it was 7 tracks. And we ended up putting that out, and everything was cool. And then we did it again with Scenic Overlook. That was his second album for me. And then we did a collab record called Telesender EP. We did that in Minneapolis. A lot of people started, there were these guys from Japan called Mind Design, and we put them out. So that's what Generator was. I wanted to be forward with label design, and I wanted to be forward with the music. I didn't incorporate my own artwork into it. I wanted people to emphasize on the music,
mm-hmm.
Because at that time, I felt like I felt like I wasn't being taken seriously as a techno artist or a DJ because I was an artist. Mm-hmm. So, if you're too good at too many things, people kind of don't like that. So I downplayed my art side. And that's why on the Generator records, I really didn't push my own drawings or anything on the labels or whatever. So I did I did 25 generator, then I stopped it to
Okay.
do pure sonic. So
why
yeah.
did you stop it? You just another direction?
I had gotten to the point with my own. I'd been building my own studio bit by bit, and I got to the point where I did not have to rely on outside artists anymore. So I just says, okay, this is going to be me. Pure Sonic originally was kind of my version of Purpose Maker.
Okay.
It's just Jeff Mills, no artists. He's making, stripped down tracks, and that was kind of my idea also. And Rob Hood came on the scene with Minimal Nation, and again it was like DJ friendly.
Right.
And I says, I'm going to try this direction. So that's why I started Pure Sonic and I stopped Generator at 25.
Okay.
Yeah. Long-winded, but I'm sorry.
No, it was good because I actually wanted to know. I have maybe like 3 or 4 releases, and I know that I think the guy was Italian. I know I have that release.
Yeah, Marco Passarani and Matteo Maduro.
Yeah.
And they're cool. I saw Marco last time I saw him in person was like maybe 2012 when I was in Italy. But yeah, cool guy too. Great music. He ended up going like more electro direction.
Okay.
He does Tiger and Woods. That's their live act now. So yeah.
That's good, man.
Yeah.
Good,
yeah.
man.
Get to know Myles.
No, it is.
Now you know.
Now I know. You know what I mean?
Now you know.
Because there's some dope stuff on there. What I didn't know that Woody actually did something for you. So now I got to go back and find those. To see if I can find them, because I would love to hear them to see what it is, especially in the album too. So that's dope.
Yeah. Woody was he was a maniac, man. He would just crank out tracks like it wasn't nothing. He was back then. He was putting out so much stuff. He was like flooding the market. I thought he was flooding the market. I'm like, dude. But now, like, we're like 25, 30 years later, and he had foresight. Because now, like, a lot of this stuff, a lot of his kind of unsold stock, he's putting it back out there, and people are buying it now.
Yeah.
So
he did a lot. He had the labels, and then he came out with the basketball hero things for a while. Which is, he was killing it, man.
He was crushing it back in the day. Yeah, man.
Every week it was something.
Yeah, but
and double packs and albums and shit.
Right.
Yeah.
And I was like, damn, how can anybody keep up with this? But then you look back, like I said, you look now 30 years later, and he's got that stock.
Yeah.
And people want it. So,
huge catalog if you can find it.
Exactly.
If you can find it. I remember
he's got like
the,
go ahead, I'm sorry.
Right. He did that one double pack, and it's the thing not Derek Carter. That I had that, and I was mad as hell because it got broke, and I can't find that anywhere. And if I did find it, I can't afford it.
Yeah, man. Yeah, Woody is a genius. He's a genius.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Big respect.
Yeah, it is. So, another question I got: what do you prefer, art or music?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't know. The art, I like the art because it has more staying power than the music. Like you do some good pieces, you do good art shows. The art has the staying power. I mean, you do a good track and it's hot for like a week, maybe 10 days out there until the next wave of stuff comes along. On our level, this stuff is, when you make new EP or you make new tracks, it's like, it just comes and goes, but the art is solid.
Yeah.
And it's weird. I mean, for me, people like, I fought this for a long time and I resented it, but people like my art more than my music. Cause I'm like, well, what's wrong with my tracks, man? But it's just good to have, something else to offer the people.
Right.
You know what I mean? So the only thing is it takes so much time to do the stuff right. Now you can make a good track like relatively in a short time.
Right.
You know what I mean? But with art, man, it's like you have to have the inspiration, the physical strength, you know, and the time and the spare time, and these factors all have to converge before you can make a good art piece. You know what I mean? It's like, okay,
Yep.
I'm not exhausted. I have actual time to do it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, all the stuff that, you know, and you have the, you know, kind of the energy to do it. So that's kind of where I'm at with art right now. But the art hangs on. It hangs on a lot better than the music.
Yeah.
I still love making tracks, but it hangs on a lot better than the music right now.
Because
Yeah.
you just recently, I think it was like last week. I'm assuming last week you just had a exhibit in Berlin.
I did.
Yeah.
I did. I had an art show here in Berlin, and it was really nice. It was, you know, a lot of people showed up. I had my friend Heiko Hoffman come in, and we did kind of a Q&A about, we're talking kind of the way we're talking right now.
Okay.
Live audience talking about the origins of techno, Detroit Berlin connection, and the art was there. And I do these art events so it could be kind of a point where people can gather that's outside of clubs. You know, you're sitting in Tresor, you know, you know, people trying to yell at you while the music's playing and all that stuff. And, you know, this is kind of a thing. We had this early in the evening. So it's kind of a mature get together when I do these art shows. That's kind of part of the reason I do them. So yeah, very, very happy. Shout out to GH36, the gallery who hosted me. And yeah, it was really nice. Yeah. I hope to do another one. I have one planned, but we shall see. As always, we shall see.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to, if I ever come back that way, or if you ever have something here, which I think it might be a lot of work to bring your stuff here on this side of the you know, of the world, but I would love to come check that out for sure. Like I had the honor, Alan did a label for one of my releases, so I was grateful for that. I think that was like always one of my dreams. I was like, yo, I'm gonna get some Alan Oldham artwork. But
yeah, with the pepper on your
it was dope.
stuff.
But ironically, the first time it came, it wasn't on my label. It was, I did a record. Me and Plural did a record for a label out of France, and Alan did a back. So it wasn't the full thing, but he did the back. So I was like,
yeah,
I got it. It wasn't on my side, so I was kind of pissed off.
Uh-huh.
I think it was on Plural side, but I had it. I was there, and then I was like, you know what? I'm like, ask Alan. So
that's close.
he agreed. You know, had to persuade him a little bit, but he agreed to do it. And he writes me back, and he was like, hey, because I wanted, you know, the art, but then I also wanted him because I was looking at the old. See, there it is, right there, y'all.
There it is.
Yeah. So, I wanted it because I was looking at the old one of the old Transmat releases, and he did it, but all the label info was actually drawn out, and I was like, I want that. I want the artwork, and I want it drawn out.
Right.
So he said, yeah, I can do it. But then he writes me back. He was like, yo, is it cool if I do it in color? I'm like, hell yeah. So I got it, man. And I'm happy. I was so happy. It turned out like excellent. I made t-shirts. I kind of crap, but
I'm happy. I'm happy to have done it.
Yeah, thank you.
My pleasure.
You know, it was dope. Yeah. So this also leads me, as you can see, all my questions are leading to other questions, all my comments, because now one of my other things I wanted to ask was about the return of Johnny Gambit. I know you've been working on this for a while. I think it might be done. I'm not sure, but can we get the backstory on how this came about and what's going on?
Hang on.
Okay.
Oh, he's got to get it. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's got to grab it.
Can't get at it. Great.
So yeah.
All right, man. You got me knocking stuff over and whatnot. This is The Return of Johnny Gambit.
Oh, nice.
Graphic novel. There we go.
Nice.
Sweet.
Yeah, this Let's try to show you some of this. Wait, here we go. Yeah.
Okay.
This is 120 pages.
Wow.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, this is 120. I ended up doing half. I did half of this in Chicago and half of this and the rest of it in Berlin.
Okay.
So yeah, this is like a 120-page graphic novel. I finished it during the pandemic. All right, so quick Johnny Gambit history. It's sad to be an old man because everything has got history now and shit. Like the story. Like, you know, when you're young, man, it's like when you're young, you're like, yeah, man, you know, I picked up these pens the other day.
Right.
When you're old, dude, man, I remember I picked up these pens back in 1994, and you know, it's a fucking drag. Anyway, back in the mid to late 80s, I did an indie comic called Johnny Gambit. I got it signed. There was an independent comic label from Chicago called Hot Comics.
Mm-hmm.
And they originally put out Johnny Gambit in 1986. I had met those guys at what used to be called Chicago Comic Con, which is now Wizard World. So I met this guy, Joe Judd, and you know, showed him my pages and samples, and he was like, "Yeah, man, let's do this." So we ended up doing one issue before the whole thing went belly up. You know, he went bankrupt. And then I had another buddy here in Detroit, back in Detroit, who wanted to publish comics. And I ended up doing 3 issues with him. And he ended up moving to LA to go to film school. He ended up working for John Singleton. Rest in peace. And so I did 3 issues. And there's an era in comics called the Black and White Boom, where a lot of different people were trying their hand at making their own comics. And distribution was super strong back in those days. So you could put out a comic, you could actually get paid, and your book will be everywhere. You know, I went to New York and saw my comics out there, you know. St. Mark's Comics, I don't know if it's still there anymore, but St. Mark's and Forbidden Planet, they had my comic, man. It was like a mind blower, you know. And I remember my first check that I got from Johnny Gambit #1, I showed my mother. Because my mother, you know, she was never big on this art thing.
Right.
So I just like that, you know, got paid. So after the 3rd issue of Johnny, we kind of got canceled, you know, because my guy moved to LA, and I never really finished the story. Nobody really cared about it. And I decided to bring it back. I was talking to a guy, and we started talking about Gambit, and I wanted to come up with like a whole new angle. And this cat like basically broke the story. He like came up with this really new angle, and I was like, "Oh shit, okay." So then I just started doing it. So I actually started this in like when it was still Bush in office when I started this. It was like 2007 when I started. You know, and okay. I was doing it like little by little over the years, just eking away at it. And you know, I ended up moving to Berlin, you know, brought all the art stuff with me and just worked on it over here. Again, I'm, you know, chugging away because, you know, you're touring and making music and all this stuff. And then I was right at the last chapter when Corona hit. And all of a sudden there was nothing to do. So that's when I put the foot on the gas at that point, and I finished the whole thing at that time. I finally had time to do it. And this is the result. You know, I found a printer over here, and it just turned out to be just all these pages of action. I have you while I have you here. I want to read you something. Let's see here. Wait a minute. Yeah, I don't know. I thought I had something in here, but hang on. Ding, 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 ding. Dig this. Now I'm going to read you a bit out of Johnny.
Okay.
This is an armored. This is kind of an armored cop over here. This guy. Now here's the caption that I wrote. Now you're hearing this for the first time. Sergeant Myles Clark sacrificed a lot to rise to shot caller of the 7th City Elite Powered Armor Unit, nicknamed POW. Right? Between his men quashing rebellion all over the city and him being here, he feels that this is his moment. So this is Sergeant Clark in the armored suit. Yeah. Isn't that crazy?
That's crazy.
Yeah. Sergeant. Yeah, meet Sergeant Myles Clark, this guy right here. Yeah.
Wow. And for those who don't know, that's my name, Myles Clark.
What a coincidence that your name is in that comic.
That is crazy.
Wow. Isn't that wild? So
that is crazy.
So yeah, that's Johnny. So
you see this big smile. That's dope, man. That's wow. That's crazy.
Yeah. Sergeant Myles, man, cleaning them up.
That's right.
Cleaning them up.
Saving
my
these
comic.
Streets.
That's right.
Wow.
Myles. Unless you say, Myles in comics.
Myles in comics, cool.
Damn right.
Brother.
Give him a cape.
Right?
Give him a cape.
Cape, man. I got a metal hookup.
just for reference, like basically the powered armor unit in my comic is like Iron Man, but they're cops. Right? They got the full armor, riot helmet, So
okay.
and Myles is
cool.
Myles is the boss of them.
See, there you go.
In my comic. So there you go.
So
yeah. So that's the story of Johnny. I have a new graphic novel on deck. This one's in color. We were supposed to come out with it with a certain label was supposed to release it. I ended up taking it back, and I'm gonna try to put it out maybe next year, early next year, maybe. But this is a 48-page graphic novel that focuses on Detroit techno.
Okay.
So yeah.
Now, didn't you do a project with Plus 8?
I did. It's called Plus 8019. That's basically the project. And I did a 16-page comic for Houghton and Aquaviva back in the day. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, good old John.
Yeah. I was talking. This way back in the day. I used to talk to Richie on the phone, like the early days. I was still doing my radio show and everything, and it came up that Derek wanted me to do a comic, and those guys they didn't want to pay me.
Right.
They every time I talked about getting paid, it's
I see.
Yeah, man. So Houghton is like, well, how much do you want? So I told him, and he's like, him and John, they hooked it up.
There you go. Yeah.
So I did, so I did 16-page thing for them, and that's kind of started everything. I did some comics, like promotional comics for Jack's Up Beats also. But Johnny was always like my serious character. All this techno stuff, I just come up with it out of my head. It's like whatever. But Johnny is kind of my serious character. Like, you read it and be like, hopefully someone will make a movie out of it. I'm not as excited about that now as I was back in the day, because if they made a movie out of it now, they kill it. They butcher it, the whole concept. So I don't even want to think about it now. So yeah, that's my kind of graphic novel comic side. I never stopped drawing. I just kind of stopped doing it for a little while as the DJing and producing got hot, I'd kind of put that down a little bit. But I did a lot during pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I got a lot of artwork done, boy. I'm so proud of myself. But
yeah.
I
still need some help with creating a comic book story for the Spirit Man.
Oh, that's right. We were talking
Spirit
about
Man story.
You're talking about that
Spirit Man story.
Yeah, bro.
I had a dream one night that my own Spirit Man character was chasing me, trying to get me. So ever since then, I said I gotta make a comic book out of this dude.
Wow,
man.
Shit, that's serious, bro.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, he was extra large, and I was like, it's coming after me.
Oh shit.
I do got another question for you before we get off here later. No, it's just I just wanted to ask what it's like working with the Queen, Ellen.
Oh, Ellen.
What's
Ellen Alien. Ellen, well, yeah, Ellen is the Queen. She kind of took me under her wing there for many years. What happened was how I got hooked up with Ellen. Because a lot of people was like, well, how did you hook up with Ellen Alien? I was walking down the street here in Berlin. I was walking like right around Rosenthaler Platz. And this, I was walking down the street one way and this blondie was walking towards me. And I didn't think nothing of it. I mean, it's Germany. It's blondies all over the place. And I didn't think nothing of it. I didn't recognize her. And then she got past me. Hey. And I turned around. Are you Alan Oldham? I'm like, and she introduced herself. Yeah, right. And she introduced herself. Oh, Ellen Alien, blah, blah, blah. And I had never met her before. She recognized me off social media or whatever. And we kind of kept in touch. Now, this is before Ellen became a superstar. Now, you don't see her walk in the neighborhood like you used to. And so I guess maybe 3 weeks later, our mutual friend Matt Edwards, Radio Slave, he did a pop-up Christmas shop right around the corner from my house. Basically, he had a whole bunch of like collectible junk in his house, and he just got a hold of a storefront, and then he moved everything to the storefront, and he had DJ set up and everything. So we went to visit Matt, me and my friend Lisa. And we got there, and Ellen was there, and Marcus, her friend Marcus. And they asked me if I wanted to play their next event because they were having something at IPSA. This was 2015. And sure, shit, of course. And, ended up playing the event, and everything was great. I played with Camilla. That was the first time I played with her.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
and Camilla. I thought it was Camilla. My bad. And
either way.
Yeah. So I played for them that weekend, and then that Tuesday I got an email from Marcus. It's like, hey, do you want to be on our roster? And I'm like, well, shit, because I wasn't doing at that point. I kind of just gotten here, and I really wasn't doing nothing, So I signed on to B-Pitch, and then I ended up going on tour with Ellen and some of the other B-Pitched artists. And went on tour together. And she's just always been cool and always been supportive. And she just kind of grabbed me by the collar and put me on. Unfortunately, the agency just closed a couple months ago, so I'm no longer with B-Pitch, but still friends with those guys. And it was just a great experience. Being part of B-Pitch. So yeah, but I'm still cool with Ellen. I still see her when she's back in Berlin, but it's very rare because everybody's in and out,
moving around.
Yeah. So yeah,
that's cool,
yeah.
man.
That's what
it's hard to link up with people over there sometimes because even when I come over there,
it's
like
it's hard.
Yeah, oh, maybe you there, maybe you not, but then me coming over from Warsaw, I got to get things done fast in those 2 or 3 days that I'm over there. So it's impossible to see everybody. Even if I'm thinking, yeah, we're going to meet up. We're going to have some coffee. We're going to have a drink. Most time it never happens.
No.
I just do a fraction of what I thought, or who I was going to meet or whatever. So I totally get that.
It's changed over here because it used to it used to kind of not be like that. You know, people kind of had time to hang around and be hippies and have coffee and you know, just you're all day at the coffee house or at the park in the summer. But now everybody's scrambling, man. Everybody's hustling now. You know, you don't have that time that you used to have. You know, I remember it'd be like a whole group of people and hey, let's go to the park. And you just chill at the park for like 2 or 3 hours. And you can't get people in the same spot like you used to. You know, because everybody's trying to crush it. You know,
You think it's been like since then? It's like it's more well, in an artist type of way. It's everything's more competitive. There's so many people there and so many people doing the same stuff. So
well, it's to me, it's not so much competitive. It's just prices are rising, and everybody's just trying to, because you're trying to live as an artist. That's the whole idea of moving to Berlin, is that you can, live as an artist. When we moved here, it was still affordable. But now, I mean, rents are steady going up, and you got to work harder. You got to make more tracks. You got to be in the studio. You got to be touring. You got to, I mean, with the art, and, so it's, I guess in a way it is competitive, but I don't feel that.
You don't feel it, that
vibe. It's just that everything is just more crushed, and especially after the pandemic. Like everybody's scrambling now, man, and it really doesn't have. When you say competition, I think more like Chicago, Detroit, where sharp elbows,
right?
People going at it and whisper campaign trying to blow up your shit, all this garbage. Yeah, you did. When that's what I think of when you say like competition.
Okay.
But here it's just a matter. It's just to maintain your lifestyle. You just got to work harder.
You got to work, yeah.
And people are always on tour. They're always on the road. It's really hard to,
right,
get people in one spot. That's why I'm so blessed that people came to my art show last week, and like when D comes to town and stuff, I try to see him, and because it's crazy out here now.
Yeah, it is. Got a couple of questions for you.
Okay.
Mr. Fitzpatrick again.
Do I see Rush over in Berlin? Rush is in I think he's in Lisbon now. Oh. Like Rush is in Portugal now. So I don't see him at all. I haven't seen Rush in years, to be honest. But he moved to Spain or Portugal, one of the two. Mm. Yeah. And he got out of Berlin.
A few people did, didn't they? Like Zach, and then Richie too.
Yeah, Houghton is in Lisbon, and so is Zach also. Yeah. Mr. SJK, do you play on Rave the Planet float this year again? No, I do not. Not this year. My friends at Rave the Planet, I played the first 2 years, so it's time for some other people on the float. Because it's not that many slots, so I got 2. So it's like, so I might end up on the float just to hang out, but not scheduled to play, not unless I hear from Dr. Mata in the next month or so.
Yeah. Dr. Mott.
Yeah. Dr. Mata. That's the pronunciation. The German.
How you pronounce that?
Dr. Mata. Okay. Yeah.
Mata seems like a crazy guy, like a wild, fun, crazy dude.
Mata isn't he? Mata, you know what Mata is? Mata is like like those old hippies from the 60s with the peace and love, but they're really very business savvy.
Gotcha.
Very smart. Woody's like that too. He's all with the, hey man, everything's cool, but this dude, he's thinking. He's thinking.
They know.
Yeah, he's thinking. So yeah, they kind of put on the persona, but yeah, he's a smart. I mean, to be able to organize Rave the Planet. I mean, that's real logistics and tactics and financial. So yeah, very smart man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like a Willy Wonka in the Chocolate Factory.
Right. Yeah, basically.
or upstart down at the Ultra Show.
Yep, Ultra Show. Yep.
Same kind of guy. You're like, oh, okay, upstart. Now I understand. You are on that up there.
Yeah.
Another question for you.
What's your opinion on? I'll read it. What's the opinion on modern techno? There was a great discussion on the fact timeless tracks aren't made anymore these days. Any thoughts? You're correct, Chris Allen. Nobody makes the timeless hits like they once did. I think it's several factors. It's just the modern times. It's the modern day where people are pushing, and you don't have that. You used to have that time and that air to develop something, and oh my God, that's this is the one. But people are just making banging tracks, so you can like play them out like right away. But I'm not going to say that the era of classic tracks is over, but it's definitely not like it was. And a lot of those classic tracks came from Detroit, like Red Planet and Jaguar, and I mean, just on and on. Art of Stalking, Suburban Night, the original Strings of Life. So, I mean, I don't know. It's a different time and a different place now.
Exactly. It's as you're saying, it's modern times because nothing is built. If you think about other products too, they're not making things that last like they used to. Like some old cars, some old BMWs, some suckers last. Something they bring now, this like 5 years ago, it's already breaking down.
Oh yeah,
even products, so it must be this energy of time now. Because even my mom said that. She said they're not making things to last anymore. Everything breaks down in 4 or 5 years. I said, you're right.
And it's not meant to be fixed. It's meant to be discarded and buy new.
Yep.
Because you used to have guys that would fix stuff. Like you take it to the shop, and now it's like just buy a new one.
It's cheaper to actually buy new, but they make that it's built on purpose. Like I actually a couple of days ago I was watching something on YouTube about Havana. Those old ass cars back there from the 50s and 40s
still running.
Yeah. So I mean that goes to show you, that at that time nothing here is built. It's all built to be replaced. But that's also how they keep you involved and engaged with them.
Yep.
I mean, think about it. This phone, every 2 years possible. It's an update. The third year, it's a new one coming out, and there's nothing really wrong with this phone,
right?
No,
you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm hanging on to mine like forever now, as long as it still works.
It works exactly
because I used to chase the updates. Nope.
Oh. And it'll be something stupid. Like I can see if it's like a major change, you know what I mean, like a better camera or something. But it's usually little minute stuff that you can actually do that in a software update, but they don't do it. They make you buy a whole new.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Yeah,
I stopped at the iPhone 13, man. I stopped at the 13 Pro. I said that's gonna be it for a while for me because I know what they're gonna be trying. This camera is good enough to film my little videos for Instagram or YouTube or whatever. But I know what they keep trying to do. They keep trying to push that update on the, to try to get you to update, and then it slows your phone down a bit. So you can't take it no more. Then you got to end up being sucked in buying, spending the money buying another phone. Yeah, you're just being kept like a slave, basically.
Well, that's what they want.
Yeah, modern drug dealing.
Yep.
You guys to buy, man. Shoot.
That's it, man.
Hey, hang on. I just saw these comments. I just clicked the comment tab. I didn't see it. Let's see. So, Mr. SJK asks, did some of you play at Mayday Dortmund once? No, I never played Mayday Dortmund. Yeah. That's a pretty big show. I mean, Advent played. I remember he played not long ago, but no, I never played that.
Good old Cisco.
Yeah, Cisco was.
Is there any places that you want to play that you haven't played?
Open Ground Club in Wuppertal, Germany. I've been wanting to play there. I met those people. They were in Berlin. They're friends with Dimitri. And Dimitri introduced me and all that. And but no, I've never played there. Blitz Music Club in Munich. I want to play there, and nobody ever booked me there. I wouldn't mind playing Fuse Club in Belgium. Yeah, I've never played Fuse. 30 years. As you can see, it's a few places.
Right.
You ever play Singapore?
Never played Singapore. Never been.
Okay.
Yeah, it's funny you would say that because I really want to play Asia. It's I played China, but that was way back in 2011. I played in Shanghai. I have not been.
Caven, if you listen, you hear that, or Don Juan, or bring them to Singapore. It's hot over there, though.
Yeah, what my man Ice Cube, give him 30 lashes like they do down in Singapore.
I tell you, man. If you do go, be careful, because I remember the steward is telling me maybe just throw your gum away right now. Just get some mints while you're there. Because some stuff happened. Some stuff happened over there when I was there for a week, and two of the dudes that was hanging around us that brought me over there, two of them ended up in prison for a year, like right after I left, because they was doing something they shouldn't have been doing. But not that, just green stuff. So some neighbor called and boom. And that was just happened to be like the same day that I left. A few hours after I left, they came and grabbed them. Oh, so I'm glad I wasn't still.
So in other words, you made it out just in time.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it was like they were, basically they wanted to have me do this tour in China while I was going to be there. So I was supposed to go to Singapore and then go to China for a couple months on a little tour. But I wanted to, for some reason, man, the strange thing, I wanted to come back to Poland, and I asked them, could we move that tour in China like to around March or something like this? And they're like, yeah, we can do something. We can arrange it. No problem. And then, it was like I literally just left. And when I got back to Poland, them dudes was like, oh, you know what happened to old boy and old boy? They down for a year because the neighbor told or whatever. It's like, dang,
been you, man.
And I wasn't doing nothing because I was just there, hanging out, whatever. You hear that, everybody? I was just there. I was just there.
We about to have wait. We were about to have D-KNOX live from the block.
Yeah, exactly. Where you accept to collect call from? Donnell.
I got caned. They caned me. No.
Damn, bro.
No, but it's you should go. I do know a few folks there. They still put on events, and
we're trying to get it together. I just got this new. This is something I was trying to work on with my old booking agent, but then the agency went down. But I got this new booking agent, and we're back now trying to do something in Asia.
Okay.
Before I want to do one more really good swing before it's over. Yeah. So, but yeah, those are the places immediately that I wouldn't mind getting booked at. Yeah. So.
All right.
Lester Fitzpatrick says, proud of y'all, man. Love to see Black in techno. Yes, we are here. We ain't going nowhere.
Now, at this point, you can't. It's like embedded in your life. How can you?
Oh, absolutely. There's nowhere to go.
Yeah, I'm always going to be going to a record store, having some gear around, even if I'm not actively making something. It's just, there's got to be a room with some, even if it's just one piece of equipment or software, something, I'm still going to be involved in some kind of way.
Yeah.
That's just.
Yeah. What else?
Lester, no more questions for us, Lester?
Lester,
Mr. SJK here. He said, but I think you played at Mayday Berlin. A fan remembered it in the Synth Museum talk. Yeah, I played Mayday Berlin in 1995 when I first started. I remember it was me and Lou Slater.
Didn't they just bring that back like a couple years ago?
What, Mayday?
Yeah. Or
they were doing
about the wrong festival.
Well, they were doing Mayday, but I think they do Mayday now outside of Berlin. Now they do it in Dortmund.
Okay.
And what you're thinking about is Love Parade.
Yeah, there it is.
AKA Rave the Planet.
Okay.
and they brought that back. That was like one of the first things to happen after COVID lifted, and that first one was insane. You know, it was insane because everybody. This is their first time coming out the house in almost 3 years. So yeah, very historic.
Cool. Oh.
So yeah,
one more, I guess we do one more. Chris Allen, what's your favorite gear?
Favorite gear right now is I've been using Machina Mark III for the past almost decade. I'm still very happy with it. It's my favorite. This is my only piece of gear right now. Because I used to have like outboard gear, but it's in storage now. Trying to decide what to do with it. Back when I was living in Chicago, I had a whole studio room, but now everything is kind of reduced to my laptop and the Machina interface. I also have Machine Plus, but I haven't used it yet. Yeah, those are my favorite pieces at the moment. I'm circling the kind of Octatrack and Digitact, that stuff. Those look really cool.
Yeah, we had Dan on here previous week before, and that's what he's doing a live setup with basically that. So
I see a lot of people doing live with those, and it's kind of easier. Steph Menasitis does 2 Machine Pluses in his live show, and he just destroys everything. I wanted to do 2 Machinas for live, and then I saw him, and I'm like, no, we got to do something else, bro. Because that mug, he just wrecks it. I just and not only is his live act the shit, but he is just a super fucking cool guy. So I always like to kind of put that in when somebody's like super cool, because there's so many people that get the attitude, the headliner, blah blah blah. But he's pretty down. He's pretty down cat. I like this guy.
That's cool.
Yeah.
We got one more thing. So Mr.
One
Mark
more.
Daniels. Mark is actually one of our sponsors. He does Pound Michigan beer. He's a good friend of mine too. Mark, and this is a good thing because we never talked about this, So Mark says, I need a copy of the comic book and signed. Is this possible? And where can we find this? Because I don't have a copy, and I want a copy since I'm
where
so.
I am. Yeah, you're in it. I'm really slow on this stuff. We're putting it back on because I had sold out of the first printing, and I took it off the site, and we're putting it back on now. I don't do my own website, so we're putting it back on now, and it will be available soon via my website, because I'm really slow about that stuff, and I got to get my business. That's one of the things. One of my 2025 resolutions is to get my business tighter. Because I'm just your typical artist that's kind of scatterbrained, and I don't have stuff ready like it should. But it'll be on the website soon, alanoldham.com.
Okay.
And it will be available for order. And we also did Johnny Gambit t-shirts, limited run, and that will be available as well. Just just hold tight and have a little patience. We're gonna get it up there as soon as we can.
Yeah, we'll keep you guys posted when we get the information, so we, you guys can get the comic and the t-shirt and whatever else. I mean, check out his music. He has a Bandcamp site. I got that. It'll be linked in the description here. All kind of stuff, man.
Yeah, man.
For real.
Just working hard, bro. Just it's all about the grind. So I'm good with that.
You got to.
I'm good with that. You get like us. You're addicted to the grind.
Yeah.
You're addicted to the struggle, man, because it's just all about getting out of bed and getting that next rung, and just it's an everyday thing. It don't stop, and this is what gives you purpose in life. For me,
yeah,
just the next. The next hurdle, your video game, you get the next token so you can keep moving.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Cheat code.
I know. Well,
X-Wax, you know what I mean?
There are people with the cheat code.
Yeah, that is true. And we'll talk about that on another edition.
And on that note,
So yeah, anything? Yeah, we usually ask. What do you got coming up? Any gigs? What's happening? Releases, gigs.
What do I got coming up? I am playing the Asadelka Festival, July 11th in Czech Republic, and this is my debut gig in the Czech Republic. I'm playing. Hang on, I got to actually
There you go.
check my schedule, bro. I got so much stuff. I
They're
don't know
probably
what I
slowing
got.
it down right now to make you buy a new one.
For real. I have. Yeah. So July 11th, I'm in the Czech Republic for the Asadelka Festival. August 16th, I'm in Cologne, Germany for the Tiba Festival. Tiba meaning Techno is Black Again Festival.
Oh wow!
So
where's this again? Where?
This is in Cologne, Germany.
Cologne. Okay.
Debut appearance in Cologne. Never been there before. And I am in September. I'm supposed to be in Lisbon, but I can't find it. Hang on. Yeah, in early September, I'm in Lisbon for the first time too. But I can't find it. Oh boy. Anyway, so yeah, my first time in Lisbon, Portugal, and I think it's in early September, bro. Let's see. See, again, I'm not prepared. You know, I'm looking through my phone. So yeah. There you go. Those are my dates coming up, and I'm doing a lot of trying to get a lot of artwork and music done this summer. No real summer holiday plans right now. Maybe September I'll go to Greece. I have a friend who lives in Greece now. My old photographer, Z, she moved to Greece and she's like, hey, come on over. So that might be my summer thing. So yeah, that's what I'm doing.
Yeah. Hey, Jackie. Yeah, she loved Cologne, so.
Jackie.
Jackie. Yeah,
Jackie. Oh no,
Jackie.
we love her. She's insane. We love her. Insane in a good way.
In a good way, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So are you coming back here? You probably won't be back here. You usually come back towards Christmas.
And yeah, we're planning it now. I'll be back in the States around November-ish.
Okay.
I'm just now getting dates together.
Okay.
You know, we've got 2 so far. Miami, New York. You know, take it with a grain of salt until it's actually announced. But you know, we're talking with these cities, hopefully trying to add more. And but yes, you're correct that I'm there around between Halloween and Christmas.
Yeah.
I'm back in the States in that time frame. The flights are cheaper during that time, and I get to see my family for the holidays, so that's always good.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so I'll be back toward the end of the year.
Okay. So all you promoters that might be watching this or hearing this, get a hold of him. You won't be disappointed. This dude's like crazy behind them decks, and he kills it. So
thank you for the
going.
Thank you for the plug. I appreciate it, bro.
You gotta do it. Do it, D. Do it.
The move, man.
I ain't gonna lie,
you know,
man,
that's when he in the groove. Then
on the low, man, I'll be like
side to side.
I'll be a little jelly because I don't. When you see me play, I'm just like this. I don't move. I don't. Not saying I'm not in it, but I don't. It's rare that you'll see me doing something like when I play. When you came in, I was in Berlin. And he came to
Chalet.
Yeah, no, it wasn't there.
No, it wasn't Chalet.
What's the place underneath the bridge? I can't think right now.
Underneath the bridge.
Yeah, it's like you go. It's a bridge. I played house. God dang.
Oh, this last time.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't Cotter. It wasn't Cotter Blau. I can't remember the name of the club. Yeah. That last.
You know what I'm talking about. I can't think of it right now either. Damn it.
No, it wasn't Cotter Blau. I can't remember. Golden Gate.
Yeah. So I had to play house. You know, I like house. I started off playing house really, but I don't play it. But I was there, and then Alan walked in, and I was like, oh shit. But it was good, man. I was doing my little, thing. But that's it. I can't do that. But Alan be killing it, right? He just in the mode, just he's got that presence, the crowds go crazy, man. And it's just like, yo, he's having mad fun. And that's what I see. I'm like, damn, I wish I could do that.
Well, thank you, brother. It's but we all have our methods of expression.
Yeah.
As long as the music comes out good, then it don't matter if you rock out, or it don't matter if you're a technician and you just focus. I mean, that's where I would put you, a technician. And
yeah, thank you.
Oh my God, you dropped that one track at Golden Gate, and you were playing house, and it was a really cool house track, and then you dropped into this like dub track, and I was like, damn, man, that was so fucking sweet, man. So yeah, you dropped into that, and it was like almost a tempo shift from 4/4 to like. I was like, damn. So yeah,
I do a little something.
Don't sell yourself short, man. It's all about the music.
True.
It's all about the music.
That's true.
True. Fellas.
Yeah.
Damn, it's good to talk to you guys.
Yeah,
man.
for sure, man. Thank you for doing it. You know what I mean, and agreeing. I know you're a busy person.
Well, it's Myles, it's D-KNOX. You got to do it. You can't say no.
Thank you.
Can't say no. And why? And it can't say no. And why would you?
Right.
So yeah, man.
Somebody said no.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, hell no, we ain't doing that damn show. You know what I mean?
Oh, you lying?
No.
Really?
Not a bad thing, not no hate, but yeah.
Nah, man. I'll do it.
Yeah, I'm good.
Well, we were talking before the show. It's like I just say yes to everything, bro. And it's getting me in trouble now.
Yeah. Well, you can't say yes to everything.
Yeah,
but
that's true. I mean, within reason.
Right, there you go. For sure.
As befits my level, I say yes.
That's so, right.
There you go.
So, yeah.
Anyway.
So people. If you like what you're seeing, what you heard, like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Support us, not just me and Donnell, but also support that other guy, Mr. Oldham, and his music, his art, and just him as a person. Support all of us. We all need it.
But we all need it, bro.
Yeah. Support, share, and subscribe to the channel. What else? Say, hey, I gotta do other stuff like that. Boom. Again, we are also available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, our iHeartRadio, and Amazon Music. If you don't want to see us because we're ugly, or you just don't want to see us at all, you can listen. Trust me. I'm at work. I listen to podcasts each and every day, along with music. But again, we're there. Check us out. Subscribe to us there. You know what I mean? That's cool. Boom. If you have any questions, concerns, comments, or just want to say hello, you can always email us. The email is at the bottom. mslive@dknox@gmail.com. We are here. We will answer at some point in time. I won't say it's going to be overnight, but we will. And also ticking at the bottom, because I didn't hit the right button. We are also on Instagram. MS Live with D-KNOX. That's us. Find us there. At some point, since the page is kind of new, I have to wait 30 days, and we will be streaming live from that page instead of my personal page. So be aware of that. Take note, and that's going to happen in probably the next sometime next month. And personal note. If you want to get me or D to play your parties or wherever you want, there's the info. You can email me, Myles Sergé. That's not me, but, my representatives, POS2bookings@gmail.com. Donnell is booking at stellarbooking.com. Info's there. Hit us up. And, yeah. And we thank you for joining us today. Let's give it up for Mr. Alan Oldham. I'm gonna give you one more because we love you so much.
Oh man,
Yes, it's been real, brothers. It's been real.
Yeah,
All right, man.
this
Well,
was
look,
great, man.
thank you
Yes,
for having
sure.
me.
Thank you.
You know,
for blessing us.
happy to support. You know, I hope I don't come off like a complete idiot. You know, I'm like
never.
because we were talking before. I'm not really like the Zoom call kind of guy. You know.
Yeah. Well, one day, you know, at some point, whenever I get myself back over that way, it'd be dope to sit down and actually be in a spot and get everybody together in
Like a live
live
audience.
thing.
That would be
dope.
sweet. That'd be sweet.
It would be definitely dope.
You guys can see my monochrome wardrobe here. Yeah.
Hey, but I mean, it wouldn't be you. That's the Berlin thing.
Yeah, it is. It is.
That's the Berlin.
Hey Aubrey, you know, at the store, maybe we could, you know, I'm not gonna say Hard Wax or Space Hall, but Aubrey, maybe we can
do a live thing,
broadcast the show live from the store.
That
from
would
the
be
Big
dope.
L.
He do it.
You know, along
he
with
would.
an in-house play set too. You know,
He
some
would.
people that could be nice.
Or
That would be great.
Sabine, if you hear this.
There you go, Sabine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Sabine, just don't suggest us where to go to eat next time. Just you know, in the store.
Oh,
Wait.
Just in the store. No, she know what I mean.
Okay, I'm bowing out now. I don't know nothing about that.
We
Sabine.
love Sabine to death. We love Sabine. I don't think that was there
We love
that
her.
day, but we love her to death.
Yeah.
We love Sabina.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
All right.
Thank you,
Until
brothers.
next time, people, we'll see you. This was MS Live with D-KNOX. Peace.